My name is Jeremy Walton and this is my 1-year review of the Canon R3. Let's go! I can't believe it's been a little over a year since I bought the R3. I remember pre-ordering the camera and waiting almost 4 months to get my hands on it. Time flies. I figured I might as well do a review about the last year I've spent with this camera and what my overall experience has been to hopefully give you some info if you're in the market for this camera or something similar. I'll break this down into a few key topics I think you'll be interested in. I want to start off with the main reason I love this camera, and that is the hybrid capabilities. For what I do, I want something that can do video and photos well, which really makes a difference in your camera choice. I travel a lot. Like a lot. A camera like this really allows me to carry one camera and really be prepared for all situations. Last year, I flew out to Hawaii on the island of Oahu and went on an early hike. For that situation, I either just carry my camera or throw on a Peak Design camera strap. Just depends on my mood. With the R3, I can get some great photos, and with the flip of a switch, I can capture 6K raw video. That means I can grab stills for social media, a client, or video for my YouTube channel, or even stock footage, B-roll clips, and all at a high quality. I know people are gonna bring up megapixels and resolution. I don't need a high or higher megapixel count camera because I'm not drastically cropping photos, and most of what I shoot ends up on social media. For video, 6K is plenty when I'm finishing in 4K, and in some cases, HD is still relevant. So the benefits of the R3 and what I get for me outweighs other cameras with higher megapixels and resolution. For you, it might be different, and don't worry, I will cover more of those benefits. I also travel to Yellowstone National Park. I go every year and I love it. Last year I encountered all kinds of weather since I was there in the spring. That means I need something that's weather sealed, and the R3 has got me covered. Something that's on the line of a cinema camera that has a fan, probably not the best scenario to be in. When I go to Yellowstone, I want to be able to hop out of the car and start shooting and not have to worry about my camera. The R3 provides that experience. I even traveled to Ireland last year, which was amazing. I was on the move 24/7, and if you had to use only one camera, you need something that can easily do both. Not to mention, traveling through a different country, you don't want to be lugging a tripod around, which leads me to something important. Having a camera with IBIS is something that you'll need. There are just too many times I'm traveling and I want that in-body image stabilization. That's something you'll have to really consider when weighing your options. I think stabilized footage is way more of an issue than looking at a picture and thinking, I wish I could zoom in more. But hey, that's just me. I do want to mention something. Some of the reasons why I'm still rolling with the R3 is because I also have a red Komodo. The Komodo is my cinema camera, and the R3 is my B camera or my hybrid camera when traveling, so that does make certain decisions easier with that setup. I did an entire video about this topic, the red Komodo and Canon R3, best combo. If you want to dive into all the reasons I think this setup makes a great combination, I will cover some of those details here, but not everything. If you want even more examples, Jared Land, the owner of Red Cameras, reposted my video and let everyone know that Canon R3 is his go-to when pairing it up with the red Komodo. Pretty cool stuff. Being a hybrid camera also helps me with my YouTube channel. I can easily go from shooting pics, I just flip the screen and go right into vlogging. I don't even use a GorillaPod. I just grab the camera and go. Just another reason having IBIS on the camera is a plus, and being weather sealed, I can worry a lot less. Speaking of vlogging, the next feature I want to cover is the autofocus of the R3. I've been a manual focus guy for a long time because honestly, autofocus kind of sucked back in the day. At this point in 2023, even a year ago or more, it's been pretty damn good. I'm confident I can nail focus manually the majority of the time, but so can autofocus at this point, which is a lot less work for me. For pictures, I'm in autofocus. When I vlog, I have total confidence in the camera's ability to keep me in focus. I can just point and shoot and get what I need. I've taken the R3 on a roller coaster, which performed perfect. No matter what I'm doing, it just saves me time and effort with great results. The only time I'm in manual focus is if I specifically need to pull focus because of aesthetic reasons, or I'm in a talking head environment. Plenty of videos on autofocus, Canon and Sony leading the way, with Panasonic now featuring phase detect autofocus. It'll just keep getting better, and I think it'll become less important when deciding on a camera compared to today. Everything we've talked about leads me to a controversial topic, and that's the age-old question, does size really matter? The Canon R3 is a full-frame camera. At this point, if budget isn't a huge factor, I highly recommend going with a full-frame mirrorless camera. Just my 2 cents, but I think that's a better investment, especially working for clients and wanting to move up. Especially since something like the Canon R6 isn't significantly bigger than a micro four thirds camera. Even though the R3 is bigger, I can honestly say this size is what I love. It fits perfectly in my hand. It literally is the perfect size. I really get into this topic in my video, Does Size Matter? Full frame versus micro four thirds. And I really discuss the differences that might just push you into going full frame if you're on the fence. The R3 grip is what can make a difference for you if you're shooting horizontal to vertical. Either way feels great. You really don't have to compromise. Now, if you're comparing this setup with a smaller camera, hold on. Here's my GH5 and a prime lens, and compare that to the R3 and a zoom lens. If we talk size and weight, for what you're getting with the R3, this versus this isn't really taking up that much more room in my backpack. Hold on. Here's my camera backpack, and there's plenty of room inside to fit a full frame camera. And I even carry my red Komodo in here as well. For what you get, it's worth the bigger form factor, which I love, and the weight. Moving on. The R3 is also bigger because of this, the battery. In order to power your camera properly, I don't want to have to keep changing batteries or have to buy a battery grip. It should just be built into the camera, which is what they did for the R3. It does depend on what you're doing, but for me, when traveling or doing an interview style shoot, one battery can last the entire day. I really have been impressed by the battery life. That's a huge plus for this camera and something to consider when pricing out other options. Another reason I love this camera is it's built like a beast and I treat it that way. All I can give you is my personal experience. This camera has been all over. It travels with me wherever I go and even has some scars to prove it. It's been dropped, tossed, slammed, slipped, strapped to a car, and it works. Traveling to different states, I can't always bring it back up, but I have a lot of confidence in this camera and in its build quality. I know it's only been a year and everyone's experience is different, but I thought it was important to let you know I don't baby this camera, because that's not how I want to shoot, but also because using this camera, I don't feel like I have to, which is important. The last thing I want to cover after using this camera for a year, and something you should think about, is future-proofing your purchase. I know there really is no way to truly future-proof your camera choice, but it's something you have to at least think about. Where do you want to be in 5 years is a good place to start. Before I bought my R3, and I'll throw the Komodo in there as well, I was a little hesitant. Those 2 cameras plus lenses and accessories are a chunk of change, and I went back and forth for a while. If you remember, at the time, these cameras took a while to come out, and I was looking to upgrade a year before. I had to hold out, and luckily I did, because I'm happy with my purchase, and probably would have made a bad choice if I jumped the gun because I wanted to upgrade right away. Take your time. That's why you shouldn't get distracted by comments and posts about what cameras to buy. You have to figure out your needs and what makes sense to you. The reasons I listed make sense for my future. Pairing the R3 with the Komodo based on my work and travel needs is a great combo, and even if I decide to level up to a Raptor, the RF mount and Canon lenses still fits in that world, so I really think I'll be good to go for a while. There's a ton more features I could talk about, but these stand out. You're going to get a good image on similar cameras. It's these slight differences that push me one way or the other. Figure out the budget you have, consider your top 3 to 5 needs to focus on, blur out the background noise, and that'll help you make a decision. If you're like me, the R3 would be a great choice. Well, there you have it. Should you buy the Canon R3? Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button because there's definitely more on the way. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Leave a comment if you have questions. Until next time, it's a wrap.